Good morning, everyone. My name is Andrew Hall. You may call me Dr. Kennard, and this is the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. The name, heavy, heavy title this morning, How Atheists Deal with Death. Um, I don't want to speak for all atheists. Atheists aren't some homogenous group. We're not monolithic. Different atheists have different ideas about what happens after death. Most probably believe that when the body ends, when the body stops functioning, consciousness also stops functioning. But atheism is just the denial of believing in God, right? We just don't believe in God. There are some atheists who believe in ghosts. There are some atheists who believe in reincarnation. For me personally, I don't think anything continues after I die. I don't think my mind continues. I don't think consciousness continues. And while that did bother me when I was in my 20s and 30s, and in my early 40s, it doesn't bother me anymore. I don't know if it's a factor. I don't know if it's getting older and being more comfortable with the idea. And maybe some of you in the chat can answer that for yourselves, at least. I'm interested to see what you have to say. Right now in my life, I am more concerned about doing the work and helping people around me. That's just me. Now, why am I talking about this? It's because Stephen Fry and the UK Humanists came up with this lovely video called What Should We Think About Death? It's a short video. It's narrated by, of course, like I said, Stephen Fry. And I'm going to hit some buttons and I'm going to share it with you in case you haven't seen it already. Watch me be awkward here. Very exciting stuff. All right, I'm going to mute my microphone because apparently that's what I need to do.
What should we think about death? One thing we can be sure of is that we will die. Everybody will. Some people do not like the thought of this and don't accept it. They prefer to think that death is not the end of us, but that we might live on, perhaps in another life on earth or in another place where people are rewarded or punished. But wanting something to be true is not the same as it being true. And there is no evidence to support the idea that our minds could survive the end of our bodies. What sense could we make of the things that we value? Love, experience, communication, achievements, the warmth of the sun on our face, if we were disembodied? And if life were eternal, wouldn't it lose much of what gives it shape, structure, meaning, and purpose? Think about reading a good book or eating a delicious cake. These may be great pleasures, but one of the things that makes them pleasures is that they come to an end. A book that went on and on forever, and a cake that you never stopped eating, would both soon lose their appeal. Death is a natural part of life. It makes sense for us to try not to be afraid of this, but instead to come to terms with it. Then we can focus on finding meaning and purpose in the here and now, making the most of the one life we know we have and helping others to do the same, choosing good over evil without the expectation of reward in some other place. When we do die, we will live on in the work we have done and in the memories of the other people whose lives we have been part of. Our bodies will break up and become part again of the cycle of nature. The atoms that form us now will go on to form other things, trees and birds, flowers and butterflies.
My mic is muted. I realize that. Thank you for letting me know that. See, this is the benefit of me looking at both screens at the same time. So I used to give this talk when I was doing stand-up comedy, it's a joke, it's a small story. I told this to a group of atheists on a couple of different occasions. And it was about how to explain death to your young children, because kids want to know, and they don't want you to lie to them. They want to know the truth. And from what I've seen, when children are brought up with a mature view on death, a reasonable view on death, it's just accepted. It's just accepted. So I was sitting around the kitchen table one day with my two kids. My youngest was maybe 5. My oldest was probably around 7, maybe 8. And my youngest wanted to know about, what happens after you die. And I said, well, after you die, your body returns to the earth and we get to become part of nature, right? We get to become part of life around us, the grass, trees. And that's a positive thing in a lot of ways. And so she thought about this for a while. And then we went out to play. We went out to play in the yard. And my son was climbing one of our large trees in the yard. So he's climbing up the tree. He's having a grand old time. My daughter was quite concerned about him climbing the tree. And she screamed at him, "Hey, you're climbing on a dead guy." So, yeah, a lot of my jokes are from my kids, who are much smarter and funnier than I am. All right, I'm going to check out the chat and see if you have any insights yourself on the human condition about ending, or whether or not you think it was maybe something afterwards. I'm going to say hello to some folks here. What's up? Simply Secular Dave, first person here in the chat. 420 Atheist, always a pleasure, sir. Grant Farmer. The best way to start your day is with a Disappointed Cat morning show, or end it if you happen to be on the other side of the planet. What's up, Tobin Templeman? Big Zebra. I always like Big Zebra. Dee Parks, what's up? I'm doing pretty well this morning, Dee Parks. I'm doing pretty well this morning. Scott Duke. Good morning, Scott Duke. John Hudson. Greetings. Greetings. Glad to see that you're here. Liking now is akin to setting off fireworks before it goes dark. You have to wait for just the right moment. Interesting. I think Thomas Aquinas said something like that. Casey A. Randy. Good morning. Good morning, sir. Did I get everyone? I think I got everyone. I said hello to John Hudson. And Tesla Ranger. Yeah, I was muted for a while, right? It's transitioning from the video to this can be awkward. All right. Oh, Simply Secular Dave, you owe us an extra 11 minutes of mute time. You can add it at the end. One of the things, as I had a job that I was working with very elderly people, who were homebound. And one of the things that became evident to me, fearing death and coping with getting older are two very different things. They are two very different things. And the way that we can help cope with any stressful situation is by having a good network of friends, having a community that supports us, and finding meaning in our lives. You may never be able to insulate yourself from stress or mental illness, but there are insurance policies out there. There are ways of becoming more resilient. And that, once again, is having a good network of support around you and finding meaning in your life and engaging in some meaningful activities. 420 says, as soon as I became an atheist, my fear of death went away. Now, while I don't want to die, I have no fear of it at all. Now I know this is my only life. It seems more special. I have to tell you, when I was younger, you did not offend me, Dr. Mordecai. You did not offend me. I would agree with you. 420 is when I was a theist, when I was a Christian, when I was a Baptist, I was much more concerned about burning in hell than not existing. And now the best evidence shows, the best data shows that nothing continues after this. And that is far better than being afraid of burning in hell forever, for eternity. Well, John Hudson, I'm looking forward to more naps after I die. I'm looking forward to more naps. It's, as a person who has a sleep disorder, a person who wakes up at odd times during the night, maybe more napping after I pass. That's something I can look forward to. All right, everyone. Oh, and Simply Secular Dave. True this. Yes, quality of life is bigger concern than what happens after I die. True that. Tesla Ranger says humans are scared of hippos because they're violent and responsible for hundreds of deaths per year, while when in reality people kill people way more per year. That's interesting. Yeah, hippos. I have a hippo story too. I think I've probably told the hippo story a number of times on this channel. It has to do with hippos and poo. But that's not for today. I'll tell that story later on. All right. 11 minutes into the show already. Well, I guess talking about death should take up a considerable amount of time out of this 25-minute show. And I'm going to take John Hudson's advice, everyone. I take John Hudson's advice in that we're going to be doing a tummy rub midpoint in the middle of the stories. So I'm going to share something funny before we get into the news.
How many of those did you take?
I took 9. Yeah, I did, I think, slightly overcommit.
That's good. It helps cleanse the heart and the mind from thinking about death. Cats should put a smile on your face, right? Kittens should put a smile on your face. Before we start talking about this news story, which you can find the link in the, and if you want to see that video, by the way, I found that video that Stephen Fry and the United Kingdom Humanists made from The Friendly Atheist, Hemant Mehta's blog, The Friendly Atheist, and the link to The Friendly Atheist is in the description. And now, for something not so completely different, we're going to talk about childcare and shifting gears awkwardly. We're going to talk about this story. 1 in 3 working families struggling to find the childcare they desperately need. I read this story, and I swear to my fictitious God, everyone, within my children's lifetime, I don't know if I'm going to live to see this, right? Assuming I have another 20, 25, maybe 30 years left. There's going to be a point that governments will pay parents to have, not only to have children, but to parent children too. It isn't just the fact of covering costs. It won't be just a matter of covering costs either. That parenting is a job. For those of us who've been parents know that it is, we love our children, but it's an absurd amount of work. It's an absurd amount of expenses. It costs time and money. And when you look at the birth rate in industrialized countries, people are making choices not to have children. In every single industrialized country, except for the United States of America, populations are getting smaller and smaller. The only reason why the US is increasing in population is because of immigration. We've covered this story so many times, but it's good to go over the basics. So at some point, governments will have to pay people to have children and to parent children. not just a tax credit, but direct payments in a way that makes it worthwhile for a person to stay home and to raise a child, to raise children properly. That's the trend. That's what we're going to see sometime in the future. Let's take a look at this story. It starts off with this young woman, a full-time student, single mom, and health insurance agent in South Carolina. She's one of many parents struggling to find childcare, even as many childcare centers have reopened, according to a new poll conducted by NPR, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, and the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. 34% of families with young children are facing serious problems finding childcare when adults need to work. The poll also found in the last few months, 44% of households with children under 18 have been facing serious financial problems. That figure jumps to 63% for Black families and not 59% for Latino households. As Congress continues to debate a spending package that would expand childcare and provide universal pre-K, parents across the U.S. are struggling to find ways to pay for the childcare they desperately need right now. Safe childcare for young children is inherently expensive. Among other reasons, one caregiver can't safely watch more than 3 or 4 infants or toddlers at a time. Have you tried watching one toddler? Microphone. Have you tried? Microphone has never had to watch a toddler. Microphone, let me tell you, watching one toddler is work. Everything goes in the mouth. Everything, especially when you're outside. Everything goes in the freaking mouth. I mean, there needs to be border collies. No, border collies won't work with handling children. But you know what I'm saying, everyone. Toddlers are a lot of work. And the U.S. spends less public money on early childhood education and care than most other wealthy nations, according to the organization. Oh, so this is the OECD. Whenever you see the OECD, it's the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. During the coronavirus pandemic, many existing childcare centers had to shut down completely or reduce their enrollment numbers for safety reasons. As the economy has opened back up, childcare centers, like a lot of businesses, are struggling to find workers, but many cannot provide the same employee incentives like hiring bonuses that bigger businesses can. The thing is, you get paid minimum wage. Here in Boston, I believe the minimum wage is $13.50 an hour. You cannot live off of minimum wage. And if that's your main source of income, then it's an untenable situation. What are you going to do? You're going to work 2 jobs, 3 jobs? That's what a lot of people do who are low paid workers. This father, Mr. Lopez, father of 3 living in Sacramento, California, currently pays $1,000 a month to send his youngest to daycare. But that high price tag doesn't guarantee reliability. Coronavirus policies at the daycare center mean that sometimes after Lopez drops his son off in the morning, he has to turn around and pick his son right back up again. I wake up, log into my computer to start work from home, and then I randomly get a text from the daycare that they've shut down for 2 or 3 days, Lopez said. In NPR's poll, 36% of adults in households with children say they experience serious problems meeting both their work and family responsibilities in the past few months. Mr. Lopez is lucky. He gets to work from home. What happens if you have a job outside of the house and you get called by childcare? I know that even with my job, years ago when my children were young, I had a manager give me grief for having to take time off because my kids were sick. Because if you've had small children, you know they get sick. They're just little, they're like petri dishes of disease, and they get sick. Not for long periods, not seriously, but yeah, I had to take time off. And my boss's boss asked, so why are you taking so much time off? It's because kids get sick. As part of his Build Back Better agenda, President Biden has proposed expanding access to childcare and providing universal pre-K. There's no guarantee he'll get those measures through, but Biden has made it clear that he wants expanded childcare to remain a part of any bill the Senate passes. How can we compete in the world if millions of America's parents, especially moms, can't be part of the workforce because they can't afford the cost of childcare or elder care? Biden said at an event on Friday. Quality early education has lasting benefits, especially for children whose families are struggling economically. But without significant financial support, there isn't a lot of hope that parents or their children will be able to reap those benefits. All of this is an argument for universal basic income, of course, for more social policies, a better social support structure. I'm going to check out the chat. 51 comments, everyone. Hey, Derek Cruz, good to see you. And Dragons in Genesis. See, I'm just like, I'm just doing the news, talking, and now all this chat. I didn't even know the Dragons with Genesis was here. What's up, Dragons? What's up, Jess M? Glad to see that you're here. You know what, John Hudson? You're right about that. When one of the reasons why I chose and my ex-wife chose to live where we did in the area is because we had a good support system with her aunt and her parents, to tell you the truth. They were an incredible help to us. Well, you know, Big Zebra, that's an interesting question. And it isn't unheard of in some societies to outsource at least the care for children, right? But yeah, factory incubators. Yes, that video is on the UK Humanist channel on YouTube too. That's right, Casey Randy. Hey, what's up, Lee? If you eat animals and the products of animals and refined oil of any kind, you will not have 30 years left. Well, that's the thing. Not eating animals does. I started being a vegetarian out of what I consider to be ethical reasons. And if that adds good years to my life, even all the better, Lee. All the better. Did I cover everyone? So many chats. This is the good thing about having a small channel too. I can interact with all of you relatively competently. Cryptameria. If men got pregnant, maternity leave would be 5 years. Indeed. That is true. That is true. All right. Somehow I'm going to cover one more story quickly, everyone, before we close the show out. Once again, thank you for hitting the like button. Please subscribe. And if you can throw a couple of shekels my way, that'd be fine. If you become a member or a patron, thank you. But if you can't, thanks for just coming here and sharing your time with us. All right, last story. We're going to talk, it's been a while since we talked about coronavirus, maybe a day. Howard Stern rips D-bag Kyrie Irving over vaccine, quote, the top idiot in the country. He's a basketball player. If you don't know Howard Stern, radio personality, and Mr. Stern has been very assertive in being pro-vaccine, let's say. And he is not bashful about what he thinks. Radio icon Howard Stern tore into Brooklyn Nets superstar Kyrie Irving for refusing to get vaccinated to protect against the coronavirus. In terms of idiots, he's got to be the top idiot in the country right now, Stern said on his Sirius XM radio on Tuesday. Guy's got a chance as a young man to make millions of dollars. All he has to do is get vaccinated, but he doesn't want to get vaccinated. Irving won't be with the team because it plays in New York City, which has a vaccine mandate that includes pro athletes who play indoors. He's eligible for at least some games, but the Nets have said he won't play in those either. Good job, Brooklyn Nets. Interesting thing about Mr. Irving is that he's a flat earther too. As we've seen, if you believe in one conspiracy theory, more than likely you're going to believe in other conspiracy theories too. And that's what he has. These crazy ideas in his head about the flat earth. And of course, he's anti-vax too. So links to everything in the description below. I got to close the show out because we've been very busy. Microphone and I, and as well as the chat, have been very busy this morning. There's an after party after show. Is there? Yeah, if you want to be on the panel, we'll be starting up at 9:30. let's do something funny, everyone.
A demon spawn that has two paws, who loves to shit into a box with fluffy fur and the eyes of a biter. I'm a small tiger.
Well, I hope that put a smile on your face. And if you're not going to be here for the after party after show, hopefully you'll be here tomorrow at 9 a.m. where we do this crazy thing all over again. I'm going to drop a video thanking YouTube members and patrons, and then I'll see you at 9:30. Hopefully. I saw that Dragons and Genesis said he's going to be doing a video on the biblical origins of the flat Earth, and yeah, I would be interested in seeing that too. I know, what was it? In is it in Daniel? I don't know. I know it's in one. I know that there are several references to the Earth being flat, on the Earth being on pillars. But you know what? I'm just burning through time right now. I got to get ready for the after party after show, everyone. Shamla Hamla.